an awesome trip to Tampa to drop some stationery off because the Photo Bohemia crew is doing, what is it?
The New Bohemians Wedding Workshop.
The New Bohemians Wedding Workshop, and they're going to shoot some stationery. And you may remember I had a little video about shooting stationery that elicited some opinions, let's say. So they're going to be shooting some stationery. We were talking about.
Don't blow out your whites.
Yeah, don't blow out your whites. That's the main thing. Like, yeah, make it so people can see it. So anyway.
Focus on the details.
There you go. So this was a cool trip, but I got to get back before I get towed. So we're going to get going. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, heading back. Trying not to get towed. I'm over by almost half an hour. We'll see how it goes. Jessie and her husband, Pavel, goes by Paul, I think that's how it is. They run a company called Photo Bohemia. I was super excited to hear that they are opening up a luxury brand. They've gone through some changes in their business over the last few years, and they've got a really great business model that works, but they want to get back to doing some of the luxury stuff that they did in the past. So they're opening up Photo Boho Couture, which I'm super excited about. But they were doing a workshop this weekend called what was it called? The New Bohemians, I think is what they called it. Super cool. They were training a bunch of their associate photographers, and then that workshop was open to other people. And so I was taking stationery over to them to use for that workshop, and I can't wait to see what the pictures look like. That should be kind of any day now. And that was all in response to my photographer video. If you haven't seen that, go watch it, about the way photographers think about photographing stationery. And just to reiterate, it is not about me getting better photos. It's about the fact that clients who spend real money on something like stationery, using people like me, they value that stationery. And a lot of times photographers they're single-minded in their focus on what they think clients value. And yes, the big day, super important, but all those little details they made decisions on, they spent money on, they care about the little details. And so any way that a photographer can highlight those details, and any way I can help a photographer better highlight the stuff I can do for a couple, we're gonna do. It is what it is. And we're getting towards the end of the day today, and this guy is about to leave. This guy is Marcos. Say hi, Marcos.
Hi, how's it going?
You're going to see more of him soon, starting now, because Marcos is with me this fall. He's an intern, my first, which I'm really super excited about. And of course, because I'm a horrible human being, the first thing I'm having him do is help me organize. We are going to do way cooler things than that, but first things first. A lot of exciting stuff's happening, but what I really wanted to talk to you about is this. So I had this conversation this week with a wedding planner she's at Lake Como. Lake Como is that place, like every wedding I see photos of that's a Lake Como wedding has like one of those super cool wood Gatsby boats, those beautiful old wood speedboats. Probably in my mind, one of the most romantic places in the world that you can get married. And I talked with Rachel Berthesel, who owns the LakeComoWeddingPlanner.com, which is just freaking cool and has beautiful branding. And we were talking about weddings and kind of my process. One of the things I mentioned to her is that I don't believe that it's my job to make a couple's life easier. In fact, if I'm doing my work well, I'm actually making their life a tiny bit harder. Well, it's not that I'm making it harder, I'm making them work for it. Because a couple can hire a stationer and give them their details, their wedding date and the locations and the names of everybody involved and all that kind of stuff. And any stationer worth their salt can turn that into a functional wedding invitation. But what I want is something that goes so much deeper than that, because I said it in my last video, stationery is something that we don't need in 2018. You don't have to have a paper wedding invitation to do the function of a wedding invitation. Now, etiquette may say otherwise, but from a functional perspective, you can email or text or call or do a million other things. You can send paperless post. They have a great service. There are all sorts of things out there that you can do to do the function of a wedding invitation. We send wedding invitations to connect couples to their people, to their families, to their friends, to their coworkers, to their loved ones. We send it to be, I've called it before, a proxy for the relationship between that couple and their guests. And doing that in a way that honors those relationships takes work. I love including things that relate to how a couple met into a wedding invitation. But for me to do that, you have to be willing to tell me the story about how you met. You've got to carve out the time for that, to have that conversation, to really think about the things that are important to you, think about the things that are kind of key to your style. And if you don't do those things, I can't draw out of you what it takes to really make an invitation. Well, the goal is to make an invitation that if your people got it and your names weren't on it, they'd still know it was yours. It's so the essence of you that they're gonna know off the bat without any hesitation that it's yours. The only way to do that is if you can invest the time and the emotional labor of really helping me understand who you are. It's tough. It's not super easy to do, but for my clients, it's worth every bit of the effort it takes. And so anyway, I was having this conversation with Rachel, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people in the wedding industry, they preach that they can make life easier, that they, no worries when you have me as your wedding planner. I would not necessarily trust someone who says that your wedding's going to be super easy, because weddings aren't easy. They're stressful. It just is what it is. And so a planner or a DJ or anyone else who says, this is going to take work, but it's going to be worth it, that's the person you want to hire. All right, Marcos is on his way out, so say bye. Well, you say bye to him, he'll say bye to you, and he'll be around more. And I can't wait to tell you more about him, and he's gonna be helping me with some of these and some other stuff, but it's time for him to leave. So See you later, man.
See ya.
All right, bye. So I went to school, I thought I was gonna be a musician, and that didn't necessarily work out how I thought it was. So I spent some time in marketing, and that's one of the reasons I love doing business cards and working with brands, and I do full branding and all that kind of stuff. But when I started working in branding, I discovered Seth Godin. And if you've watched these videos at all, you've probably recognized some of the vocabulary, some of the language, maybe even the style of the way he speaks, the way he teaches. In fact, I mentioned emotional labor a second ago, and that's a phrase I picked up from him. And one of the things that I've come to understand about life is that what we know as the middle is going away. The middle's disappearing because most people either want cheap, fast, convenient, or they want deep connection. And you can't have both very easily. Connection takes effort, it takes money, it takes time, it takes all these things that aren't what mass consumer culture is about. Seth Godin talks about average products for average people. And it may sound a little condescending, but if you think about it, that's what most big box retailers are. They're average products, and they're for people who in that one area of their lives would rather be average. And I'm a millennial, so I do believe we're all unique, but in some areas we choose not to be because it's just more convenient, or it's more affordable, or it's more whatever. It is in the areas where we choose to be different that I want to live. It's in the areas where we're focused on what makes us unique, what makes us special. And so that emotional labor that Seth talks about, that I have fully espoused, that emotional labor happens in the areas we're willing to invest it in. And so for me, wedding invitations and businesses are where it's at. Because there aren't many things more important in our lives than who we choose to spend it with and what we choose to do with our days. And so for me, that's kind of key to all of this. Those are two of the most important things that we can decide, and I get to be with people on those journeys. It's a huge privilege, but it's also a giant responsibility. Hey, speaking of which, check this out. This is going to be a business card. I am so excited about how this is going to look. We've got a die cut to do still. The production on some of the parts of it has been a bear, but we're almost there. I love that pattern. I love how it foils. I'm so excited, but that's for another date. I can't wait to see you again. In the meantime, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll see you later. Bye.